Y'all, so according to a boxing insider, Dan Rafael, Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez verbally agreed to fight Tuesday night, but the fight was not officially signed. The fight is supposed to be August 16th in Riyadh, which is Saudi Arabia, at 145 pounds, which is the catch weight. But the fight is now in jeopardy after Teofimo Lopez's tweet about Turki Alalshikh, where he called him a dictator. And it's funny because Teo wrote dick in capital letters and then he wrote tater. And, you know, he actually added Turki Alalshikh. Like, he put at Turki Alalshikh and called him a dictator, you know, which is just straight up disrespectful because we all know Turki Alalshikh is trying to save boxing. He's been giving these fighters huge paydays and many of them don't even deserve, right? Like, he's giving Shakur Stevenson a big payday when Shakur Stevenson is not a pay-per-view star. He's giving Teofimo Lopez a huge payday. Teofimo Lopez is not a pay-per-view star. You know, this guy he's paying fighters better than they've been getting paid their entire career. And then you got idiots like Teofimo Lopez, who hasn't even had, you know, he just had his first pay-per-view with Turki Alalshikh in his entire career so far. And he's disrespecting the man that just put money in his pockets because he doesn't want to fight Devin Haney. Now, obviously, he's calling Turki Alalshikh a dictator because Teo doesn't want to fight Devin Haney. If he wanted to fight Devin Haney, he would have said it on Twitter. There's two people that Teo wants to fight. He either wants to fight Jaron Boots Ennis or Terrence Bud Crawford because he wants to solidify his name in the history books. You know, if he were to, you know, move up to 147 pounds and fight Jaron Boots Ennis for that belt, and if he was to win, that would be historical, right? That would be, you know, he's already beaten Lomachenko. Then he beat Josh Taylor, right? And him getting that belt from Boots, that would be incredible, man. You know, whether you like Teo as a person or not, you know, we got to admit Teo is very talented in that boxing ring, and he has a chance of winning a fight against a guy like Jaron Boots Ennis. Now, Terrence Bud Crawford, I just think that that's super unrealistic because obviously Terrence Bud Crawford, he just had one fight at 154 against Israel Majumov. Now he's fighting Canelo Alvarez at 168 pounds. And Terrence Bud Crawford is 37 years old. He's turning 38 in October. And at this point in Terrence Crawford's career, he only wants to take big payday fights. You understand what I'm saying? Like, if Bud ends up winning against Canelo, he's going to retire. I mean, there's nobody else for him to fight. Like, seriously, like, if he was to beat Canelo, right? Who else would Terrence Crawford fight? He's already said he wouldn't fight David Benavidez because David is just a big dude. Even though David can get down to 168, you know, let's be honest, man. David Benavidez was weight bullying at 168. He's much bigger than all the fighters in that weight class. And since he's moved up to 175, he hasn't looked as dominant as he looked at 168. You look at his first fight against Gwolfstick, he didn't hurt that guy at any point in that fight. His face was markless. And then you look at his most recent fight against David Morrell. David Benavidez's face looked much worse than David Morrell. I'm one of the few people that think David Morrell won that fight. David Morrell hurt David in that fight. He dropped David in that fight. And I don't think that David Morrell got the credit that he deserved in that fight against David Benavidez. But shout out to the Mexican Monster because David Benavidez is one of my favorite fighters. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to diminish David Benavidez, but I'm just saying I don't see Terrence fighting David Benavidez. I just don't see that happening. I think this is a money grab for Terrence Bud Crawford. This is legacy and money. You know, he has the opportunity to become a 3-time undisputed champion in 3 different weight classes and make a shit ton of money. He's gonna make like $30-40 million off of this fight. You feel me? So shout out to Bud. But my question is this, right? Why does Teofimo Lopez not want to fight Devin Haney? I think that stylistically, this is a great fight. Like, let's be honest, y'all. Since Teofimo has moved up to 140 pounds, he hasn't been knocking people out. You know, he hasn't had a knockout since I think since 2022, right? So it's been like 3 years since he's gotten a knockout. You know, a lot of people feel like he lost against Sandor Martin. Some people feel like he lost against Jermaine Ortiz. And he obviously just had a great performance against Arnold Barboza, who was a champion. Shout out to Teo for that. He did beat Steve Claggett, but Teo's face was messed up bad in that Claggett fight. Like, both of his eyes had titties over and his eyes were almost closed up. So yeah, man, the last time Teo got a knockout was August 13th, 2022 against Pedro Campa. And then he had that KO against Richard Comey, which was in 2019. So Devin's not going to have to worry about, you know, a high possibility of him getting knocked out like you would against Ryan. I think Ryan Garcia is a more dangerous fight for Devin Haney than Teo, just because Ryan and Dev, they've been in the ring in the amateurs. Obviously, Devin took a lot of damage in that fight where Ryan was on the Osterine. And I just think that Devin would have a harder time defending himself against that left hook. Teo is a more skillful boxer that likes to move around the ring just like Dev does. You understand what I'm saying? But I can't blame, you know, Teo or any other boxer not wanting to fight Devin Haney based off of his performance that he had against Jose Ramirez. I mean, seriously, guys, who the hell wants to see Devin Haney move around the ring like a ballerina like he did against Jose Ramirez? If that's how Devin Haney is gonna fight for the rest of his career because of the damage he took against Ryan, I have no interest in seeing Devin Haney fight. And Devin Haney's my favorite fighter, but that version of Dev that I saw against Jose Ramirez, that was disgusting. You know, Devin Haney was clearly the bigger guy. He was the more athletic guy. He's the more muscular guy. And I wanted Devin Haney to walk him down. I wanted Devin Haney to fight him the same way he fought Lomachenko. Walk him down, use your jab, go to the body. And, you know, like, the fact that Dev was letting a dude smaller than him that don't got no power walk him down like that, and every little feint that Jose Ramirez was throwing, Devin Haney was jumping into the ropes like Shakur Stevenson. That was disgusting, bruh. So, you know, to Teofimo Lopez, bruh, if you're listening to this video, if you don't want to fight Devin Haney next, brother, I don't blame you at all, bruh. I don't. Because if Dev is going to do the same thing he did against Jose Ramirez, bro, you know, that's not good for the sport of boxing. We don't need that in the sport of boxing where a guy is just running around like a bitch. You know, like, guys, Devin Haney and William Skull did the same thing on the same card. Isn't that correct? Isn't that? Oh, actually, I'm lying. Canelo's fight was the day after Dev's fight. But William Skull and Devin Haney, they literally had the same performance, bruh. They both just ran around, you know, barely threw any punches, and they was just in the ring surviving, man. You know, I wanted this fight to happen about 5-6 years ago, but at this point, I don't really have no interest for that fight, man. I don't have no interest in a Devin Haney fight until he can prove that he can get back to being the real Devin Haney. So let me know what y'all think about this video, man. It's your boy Wavy. Subscribe, thumbs up, leave a comment. I'm out.